1337.
And here we go. This is Mouse. This is the time. This is the place. This is Radio 1337 on urbanniceradio.com. And we're having just a little bit of a change here. Our Deacon is out sick, and it's kind of sad.
Aww.
Yeah, so we've kind of changed things around a little bit here.
He's been replaced very quickly.
He's been replaced, and in fact, he was replaced by a cuter version. Yeah, I mean, I guess anybody could be cuter than Deacon.
Wow, that was like attempt to be a compliment, but it was just cold-blooded.
Yeah, it was.
It hurt just a little.
What a dick.
Yeah, I know. Well, so we have, of course, me, the mouse, is here, and across from me now is...
Hey, everybody, this is Vixen.
Oh, look at her. The sound comes from the microphone a little bit louder than it was last time. Hey.
I know, check out all those peaks.
So, and on my left here, on the far left here, we have...
The wonderful Tengu.
Tengu, and replacing our nice, lovable...
Teapot
is... go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Vanguard.
Hey, it's Vanguard in the house.
When
How
you
you
say
doing?
Teapot, you make me think of Beauty and the Beast.
Well, he was related to a kitchen utensil last week, so thought I'd bring that back.
I just said he looked like a coffee pot, all right? I'm just
Coffee
saying.
pot, teapot,
That's
depending on
always
the
a nice
use.
compliment.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, this is Radio 1337 on Urban Nights Radio, and here we go. So we're here to talk about a lot of things today, and the first thing we're going to go to is our news segment. It's our news segment.
Ooh.
New show.
So,
It's gonna be a new next segment.
I'm just going to run off these news segments just because, it's just happening in the world of good video games. You know that Keyboard Cat, right? Keyboard Cat?
Yeah.
And Nyan Cat, right? The
yeah, definitely.
Pop-Tart thing. Right?
Have that.
You know those guys are suing over their copyright to Scribblenauts and Fifth Cell?
Wow.
Yeah, for over their
Really?
copyrights, yeah.
Really?
It's interesting, yeah. So those guys at Anime Expo, with the Neon Cat you guys run by, you guys better be watching out. We're going for your thumbs. That's right. So more than in other news, right? More than 10 million copies of Minecraft Pocket Edition have been sold to date. You guys know
just
that?
the Pocket Edition?
Just the Pocket Edition.
Oh, wow.
The people, Pocket Edition including, I believe, iPad and iPhone
And Android.
and Android or whatever.
Okay,
Pocket
so
Edition. Next stop, the world. They're just gonna go out and.
Thinking in the brain.
Have you guys played Minecraft at all?
I'm guilty of it.
Minecrafters.
I
Do little
had
LAN
an
parties.
opportunity to get in on it at early alpha, and I said I knew it was gonna be super addicting. And
It's
I was like,
Legos.
no.
It's virtual
It
Legos.
is.
I knew exactly what I was gonna get myself into, and I knew that I was just gonna be sucked in. So I said no.
That's probably the reason I don't play it is because when I was a kid, I had a huge tub of Legos, and that was my day. I'd get home from school, and then by the end of the night, I'm having to pack away all the things I'd built. And
You felt bad breaking it down.
Well, I mean, I usually never did. I just hoped they wouldn't break. But, I had soap operas and all sorts of stuff going on, big mech storylines and Gundam, mini, whatever it was. It's just
And you even had little people, little ants acted as your villagers.
That'd be little ants running into the house and then just crash and just explosion.
Destruction.
You know what
You're
I
just
really
simulating an earthquake.
I really like you had those people and they were you can tear them apart. And you're like, oh, there goes his arm. Oh, man, I chopped his head off. Oh, his legs. He's running without any legs. Oh, man. And you do these really dramatic scenes with them too. You're like, oh my God, your arm is broken off. Oh my God, your hand. And I can play all these Star Wars scenes with the
Alderaan chunks everywhere.
I am your father. Right. Well, next Borderlands episode. You guys still play Borderlands? Borderlands 2 at all?
Have not played it.
Nope.
I have not been able to get to it.
It's a really fun game that mixes Halo with Diablo So
That's
you're going around.
interesting.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. The next episode is leaked. It's called Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. If
I
you guys
heard
know
about
it,
that.
well, you heard about that.
Actually, someone was explaining the game to me, and they were talking about that exact one.
Tiny Tina, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it's gonna be an assault of Asians on dragons. Tiny Tina.
Watch out for little Tokyo.
I got these all day. I just keep going. I can just keep going. So Microsoft has registered the domain Xbox Fusion. We don't know why. Xbox Fusion as well as Xbox Biz, DE, UK, whatever. They're actually in line to register another domain called Xbox Fusion. Ha! So, yeah, there's your little joke for the day.
Trust me, it'll be the last
if
one
only
with
they
how
could see
argument.
that.
If only you could see it, right? We actually got our fingers together on that one. NPD. You guys know NPD? They do research and stuff like that. They reported that 8 out of 8,867 folks above the age of 2, right, found that 72% of game-playing individuals played online. What is a surprise, right?
Yeah.
5% increase over 2012, which means in 1 year there's a 5% increase of people over 2 playing online, right? What they didn't report was that 80% of those people were online watching porn,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
You can just leave the game client up while you're, surfing on the side.
yeah, unfortunately. Back in my day, there was no internet. We had to get our porn the old-fashioned way through VHS tapes
Really?
stolen from our friends.
Tell me more, Grandpa Mouse.
Oh, dear.
But no
Curious.
dial-up?
There wasn't even dial-up back then.
Oh, dial-up was horrible.
Oh, man. No. You know how horrible it is because I lived through it. I remember when it started. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was in elementary school. Dial-up. I remember that.
God, I feel old. And that's your news bits for the day. And coming up, we're going to have Vixen talks about her new segment.
With the
in
weapon
our
of the week.
Weapons section. Weapon segment. Section thingy rubber.
Thanks.
Great save there, bro.
This is Mouse from the show Radio 1337, and you're listening to Urban Nights Radio, the sound of artists.
Why are you going to say from the show?
Because we are the show, actually.
Yeah, I know we are the
You
show,
should
but
just
can't you
say
just say
from
this is Mouse from Radio 1337?
Okay, let me do that. Okay. This is Mouse from Radio 1337, and you're listening to Urban Nights Radio, the sound of artists.
This is Deacon from Radio 1337. You're listening to Urban Nights Radio, the sound of artists.
Okay, we're back. Urban Nights Radio. This is Radio 1337, the show. Yes, I said the show.
The show.
Again.
Again.
Yes. I'm here, the Mouse, with Vanguard, Tengu, and Vixen. And right now we're going to do a little segment called...
The weapon of the week. This week's weapon is the halberd, and not the Kirby's flying ship halberd, the actual weapon that was developed in the early 15th and 14th centuries.
Really? Halberd? Kirby's ship is called the Halberd?
No, it's Meta Knight, but it's from Kirby.
Oh, okay.
All right, I was about to say, why did Kirby need a ship? He flies.
He's a little marshmallow. Anyways.
Star.
Anyways, the term halberd comes from the German Helm for staff.
I think he sucks.
Who? Kirby or Meta Knight?
Kirby.
What?
He's like,
Oh, yeah.
Ha.
Yeah, right up there with Luigi.
sorry.
And this is the second time Vixen has missed the joke.
I'm sorry. You know what? I won't interrupt
she
you.
doesn't get it.
I'm sorry, we're like
Vixen, I won't interrupt you again. I'm
deaconing the
really,
hell
really
out of
sorry.
you this week. I'm sorry.
It's because he's not here, that's why.
Yeah. Somebody's got to be
Had
interrupted.
to be someone.
Not Vanguard, no.
Nope.
So the Halberd, what does it look like?
The halberd is a polearm weapon, which, as the name suggests, it's a staff weapon that has a blade at the end of it. However, what makes the halberd different is that its blade is an axe blade that's perpendicular to the staff. And it's a unique feature about the halberd is that it has a spike at the head of the staff.
Now, do all halberds have it, or have that spike, or is that?
That helps in identifying the halberd. However, the spike at the end of the shaft is most iconic of the Swiss halberd.
Oh, okay. Like you've seen in like cartoons in the old days, the soldiers would carry a halberd. Like
You often see
guards.
knights, guards, and soldiers carrying around halberds or spears as kind of a symbol. They're actually still used today for ceremonial purposes with that image.
So basically, it's like a huge spear that has a axe head on it,
Yes,
more or less, right?
but it's not called a pole axe because that's a whole other category. The spike at the end of the shaft signifies that it's a halberd instead.
Oh, I see. Are there different types of halberds there, or is it just that particular one?
There are several different types. Like in China, there's the Ji, which is a similar halberd, except the blade is a crescent moon shape.
Oh yeah, I've seen those ones. Like in actually, you know what? Those ones actually have like the kind of more arrowhead at the top, whereas the ones from like Swiss or whatever, they don't have that arrowhead. They're more just pointy, you know.
Yes. Another one that's also well known is the Japanese naginata, which is basically classified as or identified as a katana at the end of a long staff.
Oh, okay. I think I'm envisioning it now. Have you guys ever seen halberd before, guys? Any of you guys?
I think I've seen like some ceremonial ones, like displayed.
They're actually quite common in video games. It's the character from Mega Man, I believe it was X or Mega Man 0. The character Fairy Leviathan uses a halberd. Also in Dynasty Warriors 5, the character Lu Bo uses a G, the Chinese halberd.
Now I get it. Okay. Who else? Anybody else?
Also, Kimari Ronso, I believe, uses a
the
G
guy
as
from,
well.
Like Final Fantasy 10 or something like that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've seen that guy. Yeah. That one. He totally has the pole arm ish type axey thingy. But his the end of his has like almost 2 crescent moons on the end, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's the G has a couple different views, but it's again identified from the crescent moon shape of the blade.
So when we're talking about a halberd, we're not talking much more about a very specific looking weapon as much as we're looking at kind of like a classification of weapons that are pole arms that have some kind of blade at the end, like an axe. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, because as I said before, the pole axe is a whole other category. They're more of just an axe on the end of a long shaft.
She says shaft.
Uh-huh.
I'm kidding.
We were all waiting for it.
We all knew it
I
was
was.
No, I
She caught that
appreciate
one.
that. It's because a lot of people don't understand how that a lot of weapons in video games were fashioned from real life weapons, and they actually had uses. The reason why they had the axe at the end, and the reason why they had the point end, right? The reason why there were long poles instead of just like katanas or.
They were actually developed so that they could better fend off other spears and swords in close combat for Swiss soldiers.
So isn't it also used against like infantry, like cavalry? Like
Yes,
horses?
one of the original designs for the halberd was to pull horsemen down to the ground so
I
that they
can
could
totally
easily read
see
them.
that with the pointy end, right? And then you can really just, if you can get some swing into it, you can really take off someone from a horse.
It's a really good offensive and defensive weapon.
Now, are these the same ones that you see like in other movies where they everyone gets the shields and they put them down and they put the pole up, or are those more like spears?
Those are more like spears. It depends on mainly the blade head of the weapon for how you can identify it, but more often than not, you see spears in that sense.
Now, are these weapons more like common weapons, or are they more like kind of like higher echelon type people?
I guess you could say they're common, but at the same time, it's more of, from how they've evolved to modern standards, it's more of a symbol than it is for like everyone can run around with one. It's, I hold responsibility, I hold command, and
So
I'm.
at first you think it was probably had more practical applications, but now they're more symbolic.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Well, thank you very much, Vixen. I really appreciate it. And next week we'll have another weapon of her choice, and she will be checking out. I don't know what you have planned, but I'm sure we're gonna have something awesome. So
Look forward to
Thank you very
it.
much, Vixen, and that's Vixen's Armory.
Hey, this is Tengu from Radio 1337, and you are listening to Urban Nights Radio, the sound of artists.
This is Vixen from Radio 1337. You're listening to Urban Nights Radio, the sound of artists.
All right, we're back. This is Radio 1337, and I'm the mouse. And over to my left is
Vanguard.
and
Tengu.
Vixen.
And now for the topic of the day. The topic of the day is: should retail employees deserve the right to go to E3?
Of course.
Now, me being somewhat of an industry veteran, I suppose veteran would be the term, right? I've worked in the industry. I've
Back in my
published
day.
a couple of titles, huh?
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
Way
Yeah, okay. Thanks,
back
I'm the
in
old
your
man.
day.
Right?
first opened the GameStop stores, I thought everyone shouldn't be.
I had to fend off those dinosaurs.
Our GameStop stores, we had rocks for sale. Anyway,
Rock
so guys, you guys are crazy. So going back to this, I've been in the industry for quite a while, and I've gone to what's coming up is E3, which is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, and it's the biggest video game showcase pretty much in all of the world. And
one of the coolest.
Yeah, one of the coolest.
Pretty cool.
And
Very
there's a
good.
lot of press releases there. A lot of things happen during this time. A lot of like demos of video games and stuff like that. And it's mainly a press and industry event. Now, what I've seen in past years is I've seen a lot of GameStop employees come to E3. And to me, it kind of makes me feel like, why are you even there? You know, I mean, in the industry, I've spent like 40, 50, 60 hours a week working on a game that I'm planning to show off to the press. And these GameStop employees only work like part-time, and they don't really know or understand the video games the back end of video games, yet they feel like they deserve to go. What do you guys think?
Well, okay, first off, okay, yeah, so you're, dealing with like, 60-hour work weeks. That is pretty crazy, but these guys are dealing with customers, and customers are just a insane, one of those things you just want to like shoot yourself at the end of the day kind of thing to deal with. I've worked retail for years and I hate customers. So I think that kind of justifies. I mean, I hate the fact that I can only look at the E3 releases through like YouTube or like something like that. Like I have to wait for someone to actually post it up, and I have to hope it's something good quality. It's like I want to be there. I want to see that. So I've never been to E3, and I want that to change. Like I don't even work GameStop, but I want to go. Doesn't matter how, I want to go and see that stuff.
Yeah, but the whole purpose of E3, it's a huge press event for industry and press only. And in past years that I've gone, I've seen E3 kind of balloon up into this huge thing where most of the people that I see are just retail people. And, us as industry people, we work so hard and we get crowded out by these people. It just seems crazy. Like back in 06, right? 06, they had like the largest E3 ever, and what had happened was that the ESA, which is the governing body behind E3, they decided to change their format, take their venue out of the LA Convention Center into the Santa Monica Airport for 2 years, and it just, for all intents and purposes, sucked, right? And they completely restricted everyone because they were afraid that all these retail people were going to come in, right, and just flood the E3. And yeah, the population got smaller, but after a while, they went back to the LA Convention Center, and now they're kind of coming across this thing again. The venue isn't big enough to hold all these people. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, I get it, but it's like, okay, so you're talking about press though, and I mean, who's going to give more press to a game than someone who's actually working like the counter and talking to the customer about it? I mean, okay, so GameStop, for instance, they're not going to necessarily be selling that many new games to someone, but it's like, oh yeah, man, well, I saw this at E3. It's like, it's going to be amazing. Like, as soon as this comes out, man, you got to make sure you buy it. And then, I mean, it's going to send, probably over to like Target or someplace like to buy it, but still,
it's getting the name out there for that game.
Yeah, like they are like the main first lines. Like not everyone reads like articles online. Not everyone is like getting their news from that stuff. They're talking to people like-minded and hearing it from like friends and other stuff like that. I mean, that's where you're going to get it. So why can't they come in there and help to spread the word?
It'd be nice to be able to go into that GameStop and have someone know what they're talking about, having seen the game, maybe tested it themselves, and give you that feedback you'd like to hear on it.
I can understand that, but at the same time, the people who go to E3 do have something that they want to show and actually get published. Like when I went, I was talking to some people, and they were looking for publishers. And when I approached, they're like, "Oh, are you a publisher?" And the moment I said no, they shut down. It was more of they can't get themselves out there, and by having more people who aren't in industry go there, I think it limits their possibilities.
I think so too. With people that are retail, I mean, in one given city, in one given block, really. I mean, you have how many retail people that may sell video games, and which of those people, how do you regulate which ones go and which ones don't? I mean, for the most part, retail people that sell video games, I mean, they're part-time. I mean, they're not really invested in the video games. That's part of their life. That's not their whole life. I mean, people that are industry, I mean, it's our life, you know what I mean? And for us to get crowded out by people that are part-time, that, more or less advertise the game, it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, what if you, okay, like as a compromise, what if it was like management then?
Management
like,
only.
Yeah, like a management game, because then it's not just some guy who got hired like 2 weeks ago and all of a sudden he gets the privilege to go. It's like someone who worked their way up through the ranks, and it's more of a corporate decision. Like if corporate pays for, however many tickets and has like, their like specifically selected managers go out, it's like it becomes a privilege, kind of like the whole press thing. And then turns into just, like, okay, well, we know this guy will be dedicated and will give good information.
Well, I'm not really sure even on that scale, because maybe, I mean, that's how many GameStops do you see in a certain area? I mean, there's a lot of GameStops. And how many managers are there in a certain GameStop? Maybe 2 or 3. So you have 2 or 3 GameStops, GameStop managers in a particular location, that's how many GameStops are in a particular city. I mean, just out of my, I'm like maybe 15 minutes to like at least 7 or 8 GameStops.
So I guess maybe the highest grossing ones in a like regional area.
Yeah, and then how would you determine that?
That's market numbers. It's like, okay, well, we've got the most sales coming out of, store 1520 over here in, this area. So they get priority to go there because I know they're going to talk to the most people.
Okay, then let's widen out a little bit. All right. What about the people that are managers at Best Buy? Like they may be in charge of several different locations, but they're still managers, right? Well, how would you determine the difference between someone that works at a Best Buy that maybe part of their job is in video games, or as a GameStop employee? And how would you determine like which employees deserve to go and don't deserve to go? I mean, it becomes more of an issue of like choosing, and I just don't think it's just too much for me. I mean, not too much for me personally, but too much for I think the ESA to decide.
I don't really like Best Buy.
But anyway, this is actually one of those things that like a lot of industry people tend to ask, and a lot of GameStop employees, and I've heard arguments that maybe E3 should be public because in Tokyo, the Tokyo Game Show, they actually for part of their show, it's open to the press and is open to industry, whereas like the last few days of the show is open to the public, and that public can come in, they can play with the games and kind of have an experience of what a game show is like. Now, what do you think about that kind of format?
That'd be cool.
If they're willing to dish out the money, the people personally, I don't see why not.
Yeah, because like how many days is E3 now?
It's always been 3 days.
Always
days.
Okay, so that makes
E3.
sense. Yeah.
No, actually, yeah.
But so what? Like you're maybe like doubling that then. So it's like maybe 3 days where it's just purely press and like they can get all their big announcements out, and then 3 days where like the public could come in and kind of dick around.
Or
on
I
stuff.
kind of am leaning towards that because you can actually charge for E3. And then you can start getting money back from that. And that way, like the people that are working in E3, they can buy more swag or whatever. And then it becomes a 6-day event instead of a 3-day event. But regardless of that, it's something that goes back and forth. And there are pros and there are cons about this. And, I just will leave it up to you guys to figure out what, you believe is right. And so it's just something to kind of create discussion. Should retail employees deserve the right to go to E3? You decide. Anyway, that is our topic of the day. So I do have to talk about some of the other shows here on Urban Nights Radio. We have some shows like Manish Radio, and we have other stuff like Triple Threat Sports, and we have RP Gamers. But the one I really kind of am, kind of particular with is Love from Venus, actually.
Sounds interesting.
It is. It's actually about it's about dating from a women's point of view, and it's not like the show is like actually interesting to me because I've listened to it and it's all about women, right? But
way to promote the
Seriously, way to go.
It's the host, I met them actually when I was up there.
Oh, really? No.
About a month ago, right? That was a while ago, huh? That was about a month ago.
Yeah, it was.
Over a month ago. I went there and I met what's their names? Coco and Lola. Whatever.
Lola.
Yeah. I thought Lola was pretty cute. I was like, hey,
she sounds cute.
Yeah, but nothing's gonna
From
happen,
a guy's
I mean?
perspective,
I just thought
anyways.
I just thought it was
nothing
kind of
does.
fun to
You
like
can
mention
imagine
the
girl's
people on the
perspective
air.
it, too.
I don't even think that they're actually listening to like our show because they're not like geeks like us. But I do have some two lovely ladies
Angry
here.
email.
I have Vanguard here and Vixen, who are two lovely ladies on our show.
Yo.
And Vanguard is quite obviously cuter than the Deacon.
That could have gotten dangerous real quick.
Yeah,
Nearly started the fire
And
right there.
she smells better, actually.
I would hope so.
no overwhelming scent of coffee beans.
No more scent of coffee. Well, no, actually, that I wasn't smelling coffee beans last week. But that's a whole different thing. In fact, I think he was, eating burritos beforehand.
Oh dear.
And he's going to be listening to the show and just be like, I hate all of you.
Yeah,
You know what?
I'm
And
looking
that's
forward
what's
to the
funny
post.
because he does. That's his phrase around me, and
Yeah,
I
it
always
is.
correct
It
him. He's like,
is.
I hate you. So
hate is a
much."
strong word. I strongly dislike.
No, the hate is strong with that one.
Maybe he'll actually use cuss words, but in
Maybe
this
you
kind
have
of
to take him to the
format
dark
we
side.
can't use cuss words. So maybe he'll change his vernacular to Smurf. So he'll actually say, "I Smurf and
La, la,
hate
la,
you
la, la,
right
la.
now.
Smurfia.
Smurf this. Oh, Smurf you so bad."
Oh dear.
Is that your thoughts on Lola too? You want to Smurf her so bad?
Oh, I
Oh,
want
dear.
to Smurf her so bad. She was really friendly, and I thought she was really cool, and she was very nice to me, and yeah.
That might have been called being polite.
Yeah, people have manners.
One could dream.
She'd
Keep
take
dreaming.
No,
pity
no,
on
we're
the
gonna
That's
shadow
what
those.
it
Stacy
We're gonna
guy.
shadow those dreams.
Thank you. I
Pop 'em like
appreciate
a
that.
balloon.
I appreciate it. I'm the host of the show, and you just love taking pock shots at me, huh?
Just a little
Too
bit.
easy.
Here at Urban Nights Radio, this is Radio 1337 Elite Radio, and I'm here with Vanguard, Tengu, and Vixen at Urban Nights Radio, and I think we're ready to go because I've said enough today. We'll let you guys.
I think you've said enough too.
Okay, so
I think you've invited enough upon yourself
Oh,
by having
yeah.
two
Yeah.
ladies in
I'm
studio.
just waiting to hear the backlash of that, but that's all right. Those
It will
girls
be
are
fun.
cool.
Oh, Will.
We promise
Anyway.
to not
Fun.
read the comments section.
Oh,
No one ever cares about comments anyway.
Anyway, so that's it for today. This is Radio 1337 and here on urbaniceradio.com, and we're signing off. Peace.
Adios.
bye.
Later.